I want you to turn your attention very briefly to the 37th chapter of Genesis. It reads, "So Joseph went after his brothers and found them near Dothan. But they saw him in the distance, and before he reached them, they plotted to kill him. Here comes that dreamer," they said to each other. "Come now."
Greetings, family. Looking at this video and paying attention to the oohs and ahs and the sighs and the grunts of the audience makes you wondering if you're at a funeral or you at a nightclub or some type of social gathering. I guess this is what happens when the usual suspects end up getting together. When it comes to brothers and sisters being killed by police officers, we are being done a huge disservice. The same cast of characters are present every time. Old slick back con man Reverend Al, a civil rights attorney who has profited over $100-something plus million off the death of black men and women under the guise of he is helping the family, as if money can replace your loved one. So it's just sickening. And the fact that they can come in front of black people on a consistent basis, knowing that there's so many inconsistencies and hypocritical aspects of their life, their organizations, what it is they do, and we still accept them. Until we reject men like these and throw them away as fast as we possibly can, the so-called black man will not make it anywhere that you have to go. The media precedes you. So the media runs to people such as these crooks to represent you. And when we stand back and don't say anything, we allow it to happen. How can a con man, a crook who has no respect from his community in large numbers, speak on behalf of black people? How is a con man and a crook, a loudmouth fat boy that every white person hated, all of a sudden has a TV show on MSNBC? See, we have to start looking deeper before we can start making the changes and move in the direction in which we have to go. How many trained, well-seasoned journalists are out there that are even so-called black that could be on TV in a positive way for our people? But no, they skip over all them and they'll go get this monkey mouth Al Sharpton. And let me tell you why this is happening. Let's go back to Barack Obama's presidency. Let's look at the status of Al Sharpton prior to Barack Obama. He was a pariah. Nobody liked him. Black people understood that he really didn't represent black people in a true way. There's some black people who had some injustices done to them, looking for someone that could help them, assist them, and needed somebody with a big mouth, and a person like Al Sharpton came in handy. He was the perfect person to call to get a bully or a loudmouth nobody to run his mouth and to get some attention on the situation. Everybody in the country hated him, black people and white people. But all of a sudden, Barack Obama realizes that he's got the best attack dog in the world in Al Sharpton. And so what he did was legitimized him by bringing him close to him and bringing him close to the White House. He knew all the Uncle Tom's so-called blacks who were involved in politics was going to see this as a symbol of Al Sharpton being something other than what everybody knew him to be. A loudmouth, fat preacher that wasn't worth a shit. Literally not worth two turds. Now look at this picture. What are they celebrating? You have black people, or so-called black people, and let me tell you why I call it so-called black people, family, or so-called African American because we're neither. If you look in the annals of history, you will find no black people and no African Americans. Nowhere. But you will find yourself ethnically all over the world in many different places. So please, we as a people have to get up off that. But that was a side note, and don't want to go there too deep. Let's get back to these crooks. So they're celebrating some type of victory, maybe some type of compensation, a police officer fired or, chastised in some way, but actually no real results. And let me tell you why there's no real results. Because one thing that a lot of people in this country really don't understand is that money, or the form of money that we utilize in this system, is agreed upon legal tender for barter. It's not real. It's like monopoly money, commercial money. It's created out of thin air. It doesn't actually exist until the debt itself exists. So if they create the money out of thin air, and it really truly has no value other than what the value of the American military gives to it, what are these families actually getting when they get a settlement? So the black mother or father can buy a nice house somewhere and kick their feet up, and the family can have material things as the result of the death of their loved one, but nothing structurally or policy-wise is changing. And that is the why these situations consistently happen over and over again, is because you have the devil right in the midst. The very same persons that are smiling in this picture, smiling in your face, are being the crook behind your back. And you know what we have to do, family? We have to look at all these so-called civil rights leaders, all these so-called civil rights activists. How do you become a millionaire off of being a civil rights activist? You're supposed to be helping your people, but all you can see from these gentlemen is them profiting. And they believe that we're going to believe this, that we're going to buy into this slick-haired trout mouth sucker standing behind a podium, and he doesn't think that the American people know that he got it through some nefarious manner. Al Sharpton can barely talk. And you mean to tell me that you're going to give him a show? Family, what I'm trying to say is this is how deep the system will go to maintain the status quo. And this is how deep people that look just like us will go for them to get material things in this world. That is why it specifically says in the scripture, what does it profit a man to gain the world and to lose his soul? And that is exactly the case. When have you seen Al Sharpton fighting on behalf of so-called black people in the real sense? You know, you got Mexicans coming into the country working all the jobs. You got Indians from India having gas stations and they don't even have a credit profile. As a matter of fact, how can they have a gas station in your neighborhood, in your community, and they don't even have a credit file, but you do have a credit file, but you can't get approved for no opportunity to grow a business in your neighborhood, but you got Asians, Hindus, and everybody else doing business in your neighborhood, and it's because of men like these men. These men are going along and getting along, and they're doing everything the white establishment tells them to do to remain the status quo. Every time we see Al Sharpton, we should know that the fix is in. Every time. And now let me talk about Ben Crump real fast, because let's look back to Johnny Cochran. Now, we always had strong brothers and sisters who were solid in what it is they do or what their expertise was, that had conviction about our people. So Johnny Cochran literally fought for the benefit of our people. But they want to put this clown, Ben Crump, in the guise of Johnny Cochran, this great lawyer attorney who knows how to do all these wonderful things and get all these great settlements. But he's not a Johnny Cochran. He's not fighting for the same type of things that Johnny Cochran was fighting for. And Johnny Cochran wasn't enriching himself in the way that Ben Crump is. Again, when did civil rights activism become so profitable? I'm going to tell you when it became profitable. When the Democratic Party realized that we got nothing but Uncle Tom Negroes around us, and they're eager to do anything to sell out their people. We can just throw bones towards a few black people here and there, and they will do the bidding of the white man. And that is exactly what the Democratic Party has done. Grab this black person and have them represent the party so that black people can see black faces. But this black person that they have representing the party is an Uncle Tom. If you really knew the way he thought, you wouldn't even sit at the same table with him. So we got to come together. We got to look this thing right in the eye. And the main thing is we have to reject these people. Hey, Al Sharpton comes on TV, turn it off. Al Sharpton's having a rally, don't go. A black person is killed, or let me go back, a so-called black person is killed or murdered by the police officer, and these funky Negroes want to do a march over to Edmund Pettus Bridge. Don't go. Let them be fools by themselves. Their game and their hustle only works when you show up. But when you let them know, I see you. And I see you very clearly. One love, family. Until the next video.